Hello everybody, welcome back to our second week of our poetry unit. Today we're actually going to be looking really closely at Anthony Browne's artistic inspiration, meaning when Anthony Browne was creating his drawings, throughout any of his books really, who inspired him and what inspired him. As we know from last week's investigations, Anthony Browne often does really interesting illustrations, and we're going to be looking at precisely who inspired him to create these pieces of art to go with his stories. So Anthony Browne's illustrations are really engaging for many reasons, because of the colours, the details, and sometimes because they're just a bit strange. His style of drawing is inspired by an art form called surrealism. So, what is surrealism? What I'd like you to do now is pause this video, and just below you will see a link that will do a really great explanation of what surrealism is. So pause the video, click the link below to have a little look at the video from the Tate Modern Museum. So hopefully you've had a little look at that video explaining what surrealism is. In short, surrealism often has work with an element of surprise, meaning there are unexpected items are placed within another picture for sometimes no clear reason. And just above here you can see examples of how Anthony Browne has used surrealism. For example, if I look at the one with Woody the chimp flying through the air, you can see there are books amongst the clouds. I think they're meant to be birds. And if I look at the middle picture, I can see Charles and his mother on the bench. However, the trees behind are big pieces of fruit. And over on the far right, we can see that the sofa is turning into a crocodile. So these are just examples of how Anthony Browne has used surrealism, a type of art, in his work. In particular, René Magritte is a French artist who heavily inspired Anthony Browne with his illustrations. Can you see how? You might want to pause the video here, have a really detailed look at these images I've given you here, and have a discussion with someone around you. How do you think René Magritte's artwork has inspired Anthony Browne's illustrations? Can you see the similarities? What I can see that's a similarity is that, for one, René Magritte also has a running theme. Not in every single one of his images, or paintings rather, but he has a running theme with a man with a bowler hat or some form of hat. And Anthony Browne also has a theme running throughout his stories, either with hidden bananas or using gorillas and chimpanzees. Again, there's that same running artistic idea throughout all of his art pieces. I also think that when I look at the colours, very inspired by René Magritte, especially a lot of them are outside with nature. So again, those are just some of the things that I pulled out. And we discussed this last week when artists, whether they are painters, sketchers, or writers of any sort, when artists want to create something, they often have the audience, the readers, the viewers in mind. And they make certain decisions based on who will be viewing their art. And we want, as artists, to make our readers and our viewers feel something. And when we feel something on purpose, that's called the mood. So how do you think René Magritte wants you to feel looking at maybe these two images? Why do you think he wants you to feel this? And how did he get this mood created? How did he get you to feel this certain way? Again, you can pause the video, have a discussion. Is it the colours? Is it the details? Are there the shapes? What can you see that makes you feel a certain way? And just reflecting on last week as well, moods can be created with a variety of different tactics, but some of the ones that we investigated last week were colours, using the weather, but with an artist will often use line work, meaning the type of lines they draw with can often show a certain emotion or are related to certain emotions, which create a mood when we look at them. So there's just some examples of how to use lines that create a mood. So your activity today, what you're going to do is you're going to be grouping and organising a range of Rene Magritte's and Anthony Brown's art pieces into the moods they're meant to give. There's only 2 groups. I've only sorted them into kind of happy, excited or hopeful groups, or your kind of sad, kind of scary vibes. So I'd like you to cut out the pieces of art from both artists. I'd like you to group them into what mood are they meant to be giving. And then can you start to find connections and similarities? Like, how do you know that these ones are meant to be hopeful and happy? How do you know that the other ones are meant to be kind of sad and spooky and scary? What is it about them that give this mood? And do they have these in common? Try your best, and we will have a little look and discussion in our next Google Meets as well. But yes, cut, group and stick as best as you can, and I can't wait to see what you upload.